A. Smith Show starts right now.
You know, you people are getting on my nerves. You're getting on my nerves. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're getting on my damn nerves. Ladies and gentlemen, before I sit up there and introduce anything, before I get into these reads, Jonathan Winthrop, Jonathan, stop laughing at me. Look, ladies and gentlemen, there is no truth whatsoever to these bogus rumors that I jumped on a basketball court in Philadelphia last night and stopped the fight between Eric Bledsoe and Joel Embiid. That was not me. Okay? It was not me. I was on the other side of the arena. First of all, I'm a little lighter in weight. I must admit, the head is about that size and so is the hairline. So I can understand the plausible mistake. But we live in an age of technology where you can zoom in and zoom out. Zoom in, as my man Kevin Hart would say, and zoom out. You could see that that's not me. I'm not jumping into the middle of this pit bull that is Eric Bledsoe, along with the 7'1" Joel Embiid. I'm not jumping in the middle of that. I did not at all run onto the court and stop a fight between Bledsoe and Embiid. It was not me. I cannot believe that this stuff has gone viral. I cannot believe that people have been talking about it all over social media. I cannot believe that I got bosses sitting up there wanting to call me into their office because they thought it was me jumping onto the court instead of leaving such responsibilities to the great NBA security members that the National Basketball Association has. It was not me. I was in the arena in the back. I was in the media room drinking some lemonade. And then after that, I came out and saw Allen Iverson. And if you don't believe that, check social media because he put a picture of him and I hugging on the damn social media. Okay? It was not me. I did no such thing. But I got to tell you, damn, from a distance, it did look like me. I have to admit, my head size and, the hairline, my man Bomani Jones just finished making fun of me sitting there, Stephen A. I said, I might have to go bald. My head, that guy hairline, people think it was me. It might be time for me to go bald. Bomani said, come on home, Steve. Stephen A., come on home, baby. Come on over to the side. It's about that time because he's bald. He said, let it go. Let it go. I'm trying to hold on. I don't give a damn if I look like George Jefferson. Don't bother me. I'd rather do that than be bald. That's just me. That's just me. But I got to tell y'all something right now. Just to be clear, I do think I look pretty damn good for 51 years old. I must confess. I mean, anytime, and this is not to disrespect anybody from my alma mater, Winston-Salem, or anything like that, but anytime I have a diminished level of confidence, all I do to boost myself is go back to homecoming. That's all I do. I go back to homecoming and I see the people that I went to school with, and I'm like this. I am doing just fine. And at the minute I see that, I'm like, I'm doing just fine. I'm all right. I'm all right. Because, some people that was going to school in the late 80s and early 90s, would I put myself up against them? That's all day, every day. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry to say that. Anyway, welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. That's Credit Karma, K-A-R-M-A. Hey, get knowing. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. couple of things that I wanted to get into. Like I said, I was at the game last night. And of course, we're going to get into the Final Four. Please don't get me wrong. We're going to get into the Final Four. Michigan State, Texas Tech, Virginia, Auburn. Those are the teams in the Final Four. None of my damn teams made it. North Carolina didn't make it. Duke didn't make it. Gonzaga didn't make it. Tennessee at the number 2 seed, they didn't make it. None of my teams made it. So who the hell am I? But for those of you who care what I may think about the outcome of this upcoming Final Four, so be it. I was in top 1% until a damn Sweet 16, top 5% until the Elite 8, and then everything fell apart. Anyway, having said all of that, here we are. I was at the game in Philadelphia last night, and Giannis and the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo against Joel Embiid going up against one another. That was something to behold. People debating whether or not that could be the best rivalry in sports. In basketball, rather. Could be. I don't think it's there yet. But I got something different on my mind, and it's something that is important to point out. Because there are people out there talking about Magic Johnson right now and the Los Angeles Lakers. And obviously, the New York Knicks are involved as well because people are talking about Kevin Durant and his preferred destination and where he may end up, all of this other stuff. There are some people that have been saying he'd be an absolute fool to go to the New York Knicks. And I got to admit to you, that might be the case, but not for the reasons that you believe. When you talk about the possibility of Kevin Durant ending up in New York or ending up a New York Knick to be specific, and you want to associate the word stupidity with that decision, here's the only reason why I think it would be foolish. Because the Brooklyn Nets appear to be a better situation right now. That's it. The Nets appear to be a better situation. They've got cap space. They've got young talent. They're going to the playoffs. They do not have a star. As far as I'm concerned, in Atkinson, they got a pretty damn good coach. They got nice, young, talented players. And then we also have to couple all of that with the fact that, guess what? Sean Marks and those boys, they've got leadership in play. When I look at the two biggest players potentially in free agency, it's amazing to me. New York and LA, the top two markets in the United States of America, both have teams that could be making noises, but neither of it is from their signature franchises, the Knicks and Lakers respectively. When we're talking about free agents and the likelihood of where they could land up or the preference in terms of where they should end up, we're talking the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Clippers. We're not talking Knicks. We're not talking Lakers. But according to Rick Bucher, who was on Fox Sports Radio the other day, talking about the possibility of where Kevin Durant would be, he was talking about how he heard, for the Bleacher Report that is, that Kevin Durant to the Knicks is a done deal. I haven't heard that, but I'm not going to cast any aspersions on my buddy and contemporary Rick Bucher, who has forgotten more stories in this business than most people know. I know a lot of people is very fond, if you disagree with him or you think he's wrong, you got a lot of people that'll be out there being the haters that they are. They want to use that as an excuse to denigrate them. I will remind you that even if Rick Bucher ended up wrong about this story, and I don't know that he is wrong, that man has broken enough stories in his career for y'all to sit the hell down, shut the hell up, and pay your respects. Let's be very, very clear. See, this is the thing that really, really gets to me sometimes. We live in an age, John and JC, I'm looking at two of my producers. We live in an age where you got people calling out and bringing into question the credibility of others who actually had credibility, if not still have it, when they never had it ever in their careers. You're a blogger. You've never been a reporter. Or you're a reporter and a beat writer who's never broke a damn story. And because we live in an age where the advent of social media has proliferated, and obviously there's access to the digital world and the television broadcast world and the radio broadcast world, and you have a microphone in front of you, you think that you get to call people out when you never broke a damn story in your life. See, I can sit up here in this seat right now, and it could be somebody for Fox, or it could be somebody for CBS, or it could be somebody for Yahoo, or the Bleacher Report, or the list goes on, and I can give them love. You know why? Because I'm not insecure. I know what I've done in this business. I've been doing it 25 years. And any beat writer out there that's got something to say about me, as my brother Chris Haynes for Yahoo would say, don't forget my resume. Just you say what you want about Stephen A. Don't forget his resume. From the school newspaper to a clerk at the Greensboro News and Record. Working for free, covering for high school football in Archdale, North Carolina, for crying out loud, in the Piedmont Triad area. To starting off in this business as a high school reporter, to going to the Philadelphia Inquirer, to being CNNSI, to Fox Sports, to ESPN, to being elevated from a high school writer to a general sports columnist in this business. And a blogger has the right to sit up there and try to call cats out? You got to be kidding me. Where's your credibility? So if Rick Bucher says this, let me be very, very clear about where I'm coming from and where I stand. I haven't heard that about Kevin Durant. I haven't heard that it's a done deal. But if it turns out that it's not, all right, Rick Bucher might have been given false information. That, to me, is no excuse to bring into question his credibility when he has a track record spanning years of knowing what the hell he's talking about. So let's see what happens with Kevin Durant. It clearly seems one of those situations where it seems unlikely to me at this particular moment in time. I got to admit to you, I'd be surprised if Kevin Durant ended up a New York Knicks, because Kevin Durant, obviously, I'm not going to accuse him of having thin skin because I respect the brother. What I'm going to say to him, so what I'm going to say about him rather, is that the media can be quite annoying. And if the media is quite annoying now, what the hell is it going to be like when he comes to the New York Knicks? I'm praying he comes because I'm a Knicks fan for life. And I know what Kevin Durant would bring to the table. And I'm praying that he brings somebody with him because I know what he would bring to the table. And the obvious, and him with Kyrie Irving, a healthy Kyrie Irving. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that's box office right there. That's something special to behold, make no mistake about it. And I would love to see it. But it remains to be seen what will happen. 888-SAY ESPN is 888-729-3776. But the other side to all of this is that Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors were playing against the Lakers last night. LeBron James, who's been sat down for the remainder of this season, was on the basketball court, nevertheless, in street clothes, talking to Kevin Durant while holding his mouth. What did I tell y'all about LeBron James and that narrative? What did I tell y'all about LeBron James and narratives? And now you got Kevin Durant and others following suit. I'm not criticizing them. It's fine. I'm just telling you what it is. You really, really think LeBron James and Kevin Durant both have homes in L.A. LeBron James and Kevin Durant both have each other's cell phone numbers. Remember when Kevin Durant said something about LeBron being a teammate of his, potentially being toxic, and how LeBron confessed to our very own Rachel Nichols that he was somewhat put off and offended by what he said? But then they got on the phone and spoke about it. So if they got on the phone and spoke about it, that means they can get on the phone with each other anytime they wanted to, right? Which is exactly what they can do. So why the hell are you talking in front of the cameras with your mouths closed at that particular moment in time? You know why? Because you're trying to garner attention and bring attention to yourself for whatever reason that may be. This is what I mean. One of the things that I mean about LeBron, his insatiable appetite to control the narrative. You ain't playing anymore this season. You need rest. You missed 18 games. The groin injury. You came back, reminded us of your greatness, but Magic Johnson and the Lakers have elected to sit you down. Why would you feel the need to talk on a basketball court? You know why? Because you want the damn attention. That's why. You want people talking about you. That's why. You want your Instagram and Twitter and Facebook followers built and proliferated even more. That's why. That's all I'm saying. There's no crime in that. I wish I had more followers. There's no crime in it. There's no crime in it at all. But don't deny it if somebody asked you. There's no reason for them to be on the court talking with the cameras zeroed in on them unless they wanted the damn attention. Well, if that's what you wanted, don't whine, moan, and you know what, when you get the attention that you clearly craved. Now, as for them playing together in L.A., people are ruling that out. They can't see it. Me neither, but only because I don't see Kevin Durant trying to help LeBron James win more titles. I think Kevin Durant would prefer to go someplace else so he could win more titles than LeBron. That's me. But would I completely rule it out? No. I think a lot of these cats want to live in Southern California. I think the thought of Durant with LeBron would be spectacular. I think that's instant title contention. I think if you're Kevin Durant and you're going to leave the Splash Brothers and go to State, why wouldn't you want to go to L.A.? If you're Kevin Durant, who would you rather play with, Kyrie Irving or LeBron? Who should you rather play with, Kyrie Irving or LeBron? And so Kevin Durant, leaving all his options open. This is what we're talking about. And whether or not that materializes into something remains to be seen. It really, really does. But I wouldn't rule it out. I'll tell you this much, though. In terms of pressure, and who has the most pressure on them, in terms of making sure talent comes to L.A., once upon a time, I would have said LeBron. But after the season the Lakers have had, I'm going to put that onus on Irvin Magic Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be very, very clear about what I'm about to say. Magic Johnson's Magic Johnson. He's one of the rare individuals in the history of sports who deserves to be deified. He's that special. This has not been a good year. The Lakers in the second half of this season have been an unmitigated disaster. Period. And it falls on Magic Johnson. If you want to say it falls on Jeannie Buss, I would say to you, is for this reason and this reason only, that Rob Pelinka is there. Because obviously they had a relationship before Magic Johnson took over, and some believe that Jeannie Buss has everything to do with Rob Pelinka being there. I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm only telling you what people say. Here's my issue. I think Rob Pelinka, there's a lot of jealousy out there. There's a lot of envy out there. You got people out there who want him to do badly. They don't like him. They didn't like him when he was an agent. They don't like him now that he's in the GM's position. They talk to him because they have to or because it's proper decorum to some degree, but they don't particularly like him. But it is fair to say, in fairness to him, that a lot of that might have to do with jealousy. When you have an iconic figure in the sports world like Kobe Bryant, absolutely positively swearing by Rob Pelinka and what he means to basketball and how brilliant of a basketball mind he is, you got to pay attention to that because Kobe would know a thing or two about that. There's very few people on the planet he trusts more than Rob Pelinka. So that's important to point out. It's important to point out that Kobe Bryant is not the only talent that Rob Pelinka has represented. And there's plenty of guys that may be jealous or may have been in the past jealous or envious of the cachet that Rob Pelinka had and the job that he did, for all we know. And that might play a role in him being excoriated by some, clearly behind his back. But what's undeniable is that the combination of Magic and Rob Pelinka needs to be elevated. There needs to be somebody in the mix. You got Andy Ellsberg in Miami. There's Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, but you got a guy like Andy Ellsberg that monitors the cap and brings a lot of ideas to Pat Riley. And that can't be ignored. It truly cannot. I think that is incredibly, incredibly important. That's where I'm at with it. You look at a guy in Cleveland, Brock Aller, A-L-L-E-R. He was a personal assistant for Dan Gilbert for a decade, but then got elevated within basketball operations. He's done a hell of a job. And when you look at what he brings to the table, I don't think it's deniable that he could end up being an asset to the Los Angeles Lakers. And that's something that needs to happen as well. He's considered one of the best cap guys in the business by some. There's always somebody associated with a team that's unheard of, unsung. That's who the Lakers need. Rob Pelinka is a novice at a GM position. Magic Johnson is a novice as president of basketball operations. Those are not negative connotations. It just speaks to the fact that they both just started on the job. This is their second season. Magic Johnson, but to talk about this guy like, oh, so you got some executive out there talking about how Magic Johnson has ruined the Lakers. I'm sorry, what the hell were the Lakers before he got there? You were saddled with Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng's contracts. Magic Johnson got LeBron James. Before that, he drafted Kyle Kuzma. Lonzo Ball's not a scrub. He just needs to be more assertive, more aggressive, and not be distracted by family issues, which has nothing to do with Magic. I think it's important to point those things out. I think it's important to recognize that. Because I'm here to tell you something right now. Magic didn't do a great job this year. I'll be the first to tell you that. But the jury is still out. The door isn't closed. The book isn't closed on Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka. It's not like things can't be corrected. Lakers have cap space. They've got draft picks coming up. And we're talking about really acquiring somebody in free agency in order to be a title contender. And maybe Rick Buke is right. Maybe Kevin Durant is a done deal to go to the Knicks. All I'm saying to you is that I'm in no position to definitively say that. I've had plenty of people who have told me that, but I don't know that. Because Kevin Durant hasn't admitted that, and the people close to him deny that it's a done deal. Now, they could be lying. I don't know. And I don't particularly care. And if I recall my boy Champ in Detroit, if I recall him correctly, I think he's been telling me Kevin Durant's been a done deal in New York. Champ, if I misquote you, I apologize, but I think you said that to me. I don't know. You got people on the street. You got people in the NBA community. You got people in the hip-hop community because of Rock Nation and others, their affiliation with that, telling me it's a done deal as well. I don't know that. I don't know that. And the reason I don't know that, I'm going to tell you honestly. And I never wanted to say this because I think it's disrespectful to Kevin Durant. So if Kevin Durant's listening, I want to sit up there and tell you, I never said this, nor do I believe this. But I got to quote what somebody said about Kevin Durant. Man, it ain't done until it's done. He's an emotional dude. That man might swear he's going to sign with the Knicks and get emotional right before the press conference and change his mind. That's what they said. Now, I don't know that to be true. And I don't know how they were trying to say that because it was via text as opposed to their voice. And I got mad respect for Kevin Durant. We know how I felt about him going to Golden State, but that's me being an old school basketball kind of guy, not wanting you to jump on the wagon. But this brother's arguably the best player in basketball. This brother's elite. He's big time. And I'm not going to talk about him like that. So we'll see what happens. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, I'll get into Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. My God, has that gotten ugly. There's a lot of stuff to be said about that as well. So don't miss it. I got to get into some of that as well. Plus, I get into Giannis and Joel Embiid and the whole Eastern Conference playoff picture, particularly now that the Milwaukee Bucks have clinched the #1 seed. But not before I get to your phone calls at 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless. Nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Back to your calls, or to your calls in just a second. By the way, though, hey, fellas, stop lounging around, please. Be active. Take your girl out. Go to a game or a concert. Get tickets to something. Plus, the NBA playoff season is almost here, and the time is now to jump on those tickets. For all your ticket needs, look no further than Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Go to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN to get 10% off your first order. Get out, go have an experience, fellas. Get to the game and use Vivid Seats. Don't just buy any seat, get a Vivid seat. 888-SAY-ESPN, that is the number to call. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought